Another X212 bodybuilder, JOHN JEWETT, graduates to the Open and is headed to the Olympia, wins the Vancouver Pro.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Oh, we're live, Chris, here for Heavy Muscle Radio on this July 14th evening. Chris is on the verge of going to the Teen Nationals with his son for the first time, which is going to be super exciting. And Armon Adibi is here as our special guest. We are in Puerta Vallarta, Mexico, Chris, where between the two of us, I think we got, about 1 billion stem cells over this last couple of days? Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
I can't say that name, Armon Adibi, 10 times fast.
AA.
I can't either.
Chris, I learned something about Armon by living with him the last couple of days. He has just as many little protocols and little procedures that he has to do on a daily basis that I do. You know, all my little quirky things I have to do.
Oh yeah, Dave. When I stay with you, I'm like, hey Dave, I'm going to bed. And it's like 3, 2, 1, and Dave's like flossing and moisturizing and hair, and
he's got the Invisalign. He's flossing his teeth. He's brushing his teeth. He's got
water pick.
The water. He's got like 6,000 vitamin bottles like I do. It's
yeah,
great.
That's right. Dave has to take all the nighttime vitamins, and it's like, I swear, I'm in bed like 45 minutes, like crashed onto the couch, and Dave is like halfway through his routine.
Chris is like, just keep telling me a story. He goes, don't stop talking.
I swear to God, anytime I'm with Dave, I'm like, because I'm usually delirious with like triple no sleep. So yeah. I'm like completely lost my mind, I'll say. And Dave will tell me stories. Dave, of course, we had Bleckman stories. And, by the way, Richard Simmons died. Speaking of,
I know. I was going to bring that up. Terrible, right?
We haven't slept at all, really, either. We've been just go.
Yeah.
Dave likes to work. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Well, when Armon. See, what happened was when we. Let me pull this up here. Let's get a little Richard Simmons action going here. Hold on a second.
Yeah. He's not.
Posterity. So. On, Saturday morning when we did our all stem cells, there's Richard Simmons.
Dave, who is more flamboyant, Little Richard or Richard Simmons? Because you said Little Richard.
I think that I heard that Steve Blackman was going to play Richard Simmons in
the off-Broadway play, but Mel Brooks was going to
write all the music for it. Yeah, that's true.
Mel Brooks was going to cast Greg Valentino as himself, John Romano as himself, and you as yourself, but they thought tickets would, people wouldn't buy tickets.
The best Richard Simmons stuff was the interactions he used to have with Howard Stern, because they were friends, but Richard would get insulted that Howard would make fun of him on the show, and so he would stop talking to him, and then he wouldn't they would go like years without talking, and then he'd come back on the show again. And then they'd make up, and then Howard would make fun of him again, and then he wouldn't talk to him again. So it was like this terrible but wonderful friendship they had.
I heard some guru was going to come out with like there was Deal a Meal. It's going to be like the Deal a Meal little thing for anabolics. Like you pull out 6 weeks out this card, and you switch it with that card, and You get the perfect cycle. It's deal-less cycle.
I think Xavier has the expression of the show. 1 billion stem cells. Why cut back? There you go. You won. You won the free bottle.
Did you have the Xavier special on yet?
What?
Did you have the Xavier special on yet?
No, we haven't. He's Xavier. When are we putting that thing up?
It's going to be riveting. It's going to be riveting. It's going to. The Washington Post will probably pick it up.
Is it crazier than mine?
Chris, look what we got here. Hold on. For all our druggy dealers.
Tell them what I took.
So we have a guy who's a local Mexican dealer. Remember, in Mexico, steroids illegal. Everything's legal here.
Yeah, who's on the posters outside the pharmacy?
Phil Heath
And Ronnie.
It's bizarre. Everywhere you go, you
actually,
get Phil.
we saw one with Chris Bumstead. I don't know if he's aware. He's now on the posters there too. So anyway, so this guy from Red Dragon came over and he brought us a whole. I did a big video on it. You guys will love it. I also went to the pharmacy there, so you guys are going to have I have plenty of stuff I'm going to be feeding you over the next couple of weeks. So this is the GH that they have there, and then he has HCG. So I said, the only thing we could really test would be HCG because you can use a pregnancy test on it. So Armon and I went out and bought a pregnancy test, and we tested their HCG. It was legit. So that's a good sign, right there. And the anabolics, he brought over bags of the raw ingredients that they buy from China. So we actually saw how they all the raws and everything like that. So it was
careful, Dave. Sometimes they put the fentanyl bags next to the anabolic bags. So.
Armand's a fentanyl expert. So he can spot fentanyl a mile away. He can sniff it out like a dog almost, And so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah. So anyway, so that's we had some fun with that, and we did all.
And where in Mexico are you?
What?
Cancun.
We're in Puerta Vallarta.
Okay.
It doesn't even feel like we're in Mexico, though. Yeah,
it's a very touristy area, and it's safe here. There's no cartel here. It looks like I'm in Florida, basically.
I spent 3 hours on Realtor.com looking at condos in Playa del Carmen because I went there in 2020, and they're still cheap there. It's a beautiful town.
You should look You should look also here in Puerto Vallarta.
It's really nice here too. I've been to Playa.
I'm sure it's nice.
Very nice. And you know what? There's a lot of new buildings going up here. It reminds me of Dubai in 1996.
Yeah.
They were rebuilding that whole place. So anyway, so we Friday we did like diagnostic testing, and then I thought I had all these things wrong with me, Chris. So I made them they CT scan my right hip. Nothing wrong with it.
How much was a scan down there? What's a CT scan cost?
Like $10, it costs, So they scanned my foot. They x-rayed my foot. Nothing was wrong with it. So I didn't have to do any intramuscular stuff. But he had what did he do, MRI on you?
Yeah, I had images of my neck, but my MRI disc had to be sent here, and it would take too long. So they just redid my disc, my lower back.
He had what did you have to take to get into the MRI machine?
Oh, I had to take I'm claustrophobic, and their MRI machines are, in the States they have the open ones, but here this one was I knew it was going to be tiny.
Like a coffin grip, yeah.
I had to take 3 Xanaxes to just get in there.
Chris, you and I would have slept for 3 weeks if we would have taken 3 Xanaxes.
Yeah.
Just to get into the MRI machine, and then and then we went to the gym. Was it Friday night? Yeah. Friday night we went to a gym here. It was like in a mall, and we're doing arms or whatever. And I was doing cable curls. So after I put the thing down, I put the weight down, and it the plates smacked each other on the stack, and all of a sudden an alarm went off, Chris, and 3 people came rushing towards us. It was like Planet Fitness. You can't make noise in there or something like that. Now, of course, I feigned not understanding Spanish, so I'm like, no comprende.
They kick you out?
No, I was hoping they would, and then I said, I don't want to ruin it for the.
They give you a warning.
So I didn't know if it was Dave or me because I was wearing my rotator cuff, so I just let the cable go a little bit, and it went, and they came over like this, and I'm like, are they serious?
What was really kind of interesting was how the whole place was rigged up so that they could hear any little noise above a decibel, anywhere in the gym, and it would set the alarm off.
Well, they can use the system to bug Trump's, to bug Mar-a-Lago, according to Alex Jones.
Yeah. So what happened was
It's probably Mar-a-Lago's probably bugged it to death, right?
Sure. So listen. So Saturday he goes to get his. He had to get the stem cells directly into his spine. So they had to put him out for that. They did 20 shots into his spine. And so while he's doing that, I figure I'm going to go to the pool. They have a nice infinity pool. We're in a condo complex here that they put us up in, really nice. And all these things start happening. Like Richard Simmons dies, then Dr. Ruth dies, and Shannon Doherty dies at what, 90210? Is that? Yeah. And then Trump gets shot, and it's like it was nonstop. I never got to the pool. I was sitting in my bathing suit recording videos and wrap-ups and all kinds of like updates of what was going on, and it was a crazy weekend, huh?
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend.
Alex Jones says that they're going to try to poison Trump now. That's his prediction.
Well, he said a long time ago that they were going to try to kill him, right?
Yeah, he did. He did predict that. Yeah.
No, he predicted that. He did predict.
He said, "If I were Trump, I'd be in a bunker right now." He said.
Yeah, I think Tucker Carlson, who lives down the street from me, technically.
Was he really?
Yeah, he has, Dave. He's in Bryant Pond. Maybe that's.
I didn't know he was in Maine. That's weird.
Well, if you watch his podcasts, he does it from this barn in this little town of, I don't know, maybe there's 600 people there. Like,
is that your town?
Patrick David was there recently.
Yes, you're right. He was.
They all fly in. Patrick, you could have stayed complimentary at my Airbnb. I would have kicked the tenants out. I would have canceled them. And he broadcasts from it's a barn. He built a studio in a barn.
But I'm saying I didn't know he lived in Maine.
Today he said they're definitely going to kill Trump.
He said what?
He said they're definitely going to kill Trump.
Well, they can't get rid of him any other way at this point, right? So Trump's gonna have to have like food testers. You know, remember back in the day when they had the kings? The kings would have someone else test the food in case they
yes,
see if someone else dies first. You know, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
We live in crazy times. I mean, we make jokes about it, but this is like stuff that
it's full blown. It is full blown crazy. And I told you, Dave, right? Yeah. How many times have we talked off air about? Crazy.
But do you see Trump winning in a landslide now that?
Oh my God!
Right?
Probably the biggest in history.
You know what's really funny?
Because
you
Dave,
could have predicted.
There's. You know, I was thinking the other day. Trump is a manifestation. I used to think he's the slingshot, the pendulum of Obama, right? Because people say he's a pendulum of Obama, he's a pendulum of Obama, he's the exact opposite. And I used to think, yeah, that sounds like, dead on. But I realized today that he's the live living version of Rush Limbaugh. Like if Rush Limbaugh ran for president, he would have won. Because 52% of the people would have voted for him for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So Trump has that, that same, America first. We got to get back to whatever, he wants to get back to, anti-liberalism and just the bullet hitting his ear is just the icing on the cake.
But you knew you were going to see Trump stick his arm up in the air, right?
Dave, the only other person who could have run for president, who could have done that, if it was The Rock, like someone with a lot of charisma like that, he would have. No, he would. The Rock would have checked his ear. He would have stayed low. He would have followed. He would have followed protocol. Anyone else who's run in the last 30 years would have taken cover. Only Trump and Vince McMahon would turn it into have the foresight and the ability to think in the moment to turn it into
victory.
What he did is he gave the shooter the finger by giving him the fist.
Right.
He probably would have preferred to give the finger, but people would have been so aghast. I mean, look, even in a moment of crisis, he's given, you know,
Think about how
who is he
scared.
giving
He
the
had to be scared. There was no doubt that he was.
Yes, of course. So only him and Vince McMahon would be able to think on their feet and turn that like crazy moment into like a picture that will, you know, last 20 years, where people say that was the time, you know, by sticking his finger out, he gave the shooter the fist, you know, and he gave the fist was also a, you know, symbol of, you know, we're not giving up at all. They can try to shoot me with a machine gun.
Right. You know, Teddy Roosevelt was. Remember, 1912 was shot.
Yes.
Giving a speech. Oh wait, because I got to pull this picture.
I'm looking forward to the monologues that he gives at the rallies, where he said, you know what, they killed JFK, they killed Abe Lincoln, but they tried coming for me and they couldn't do it.
It's like, I love that picture. For some reason, I like that picture better than all the other ones. Because they're like trying to hold him back. They're like, get down. The guy could still be shooting bullets at you. And he's like, no, I got to take this. I got to put my fist up in the air for these guys.
That will be on T-shirts by 6 a.m. tomorrow, if it's not already on.
Yeah, Reagan was like that too. But, you know, Teddy Roosevelt, the funny story, I remember in history class, I'm telling you this, Teddy Roosevelt had written a speech. It was so long, the speech, and he rolled up the speech that he had written on paper, because back then they used paper, there was no computers, and he shoved it inside his suit, you know, pocket. And when the assassin shot him, the speech was so thick that it absorbed the bullet, and the bullet did penetrate his skin, but it only was like a flesh wound, because the speech took most of the oomph off of the bullet. And he gave a 90-minute speech with the bullet in him, and because, you know, he was also another tough guy, you know. What was it? Was he the walk softly, carry a big stick? Yeah, that's his saying. So he did the night, and he told the people, he goes, I don't know if you're aware, I've been shot, but I'm going to finish my speech. So, you know, that always works good. People like tough guy presidents. I want someone who's going to be that tough. I don't want someone who falls off the stage when he's trying to walk off the stage. So, what's your prediction?
Well, you know, some people think Mick Jagger should run instead of Biden.
You think Biden will continue going?
I told you that he was too. I told you, and I'll tell the listeners that we talked about this, and I said this is before the debate.
Right.
That there's the incredible arrogance in thinking like, you know, he can take it to the finish line. This is before the debate. And people will tell him to get out, and he'll say no. And that's what he said. He says, over my dead body, Jesus will have to come down and tell me I can't run himself.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the attempts on Trump's life are over.
George Clooney was of course, the crazy world we live in, where, you know, entertainment meets politics, which it always has anyway. I mean, look at Trump. But George Clooney gave him the thumbs down, and people started to turn on him. I said Kevin Spacey may want to run.
He's trying to make a comeback, right?
Yeah, well, if he didn't have all the bones, I mean, how many times has he been? I think twice. He's been in jury trials where they've tried to put him in jail for like sexually harassing guys, and he's beat it both times.
You see, he should have just
Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, by the way, was news this week too.
Yes, they dismissed his case. Yeah, that was great for him. Well, they held back evidence that there was live bullets on the set. You know, live ammo. I mean, so I'm glad that they at least found that out. But you know, I used to like Kevin Spacey so much, and you know, if he would have only done his molesting in the male bodybuilding world, he would have gotten away with everything. Right, Chris? He would have been like in schmo heaven. I don't know why he had to go after like.
He's one of the better actors in the last 20 years, 30 years. I mean, how believable is he?
He should have
Any role he
bodybuilders.
takes.
It would have been fine. You know, he wouldn't have had any problems at all. All right, let's talk about what.
No, he's broke now. He was on. I think he was on.
He says he's broke. Do you really believe he's broke? I don't believe it.
Yeah, can you imagine the lawyer fees?
Yeah, but think about how much money he's been making for so many years.
Yeah, but you know what? When you are an actor like him, and you are so good at it, and you know in acting you can go all the way up until you're ready to, to Joe Biden's age, right? You can get some type of roles. So you probably don't save and put away money as much as you probably have the crazy house and crazy expenses and money just rolls in, and all of a sudden you have no roles whatsoever, and you have crazy lawyer fees.
That's how Nicolas Cage was. He had like 10 houses, insane cars, services, all that, and they're like, you don't have any more money left, and he had to start doing movies again.
Yeah.
Did you see that Harrison Ford? Speaking of old guys that are still acting, Harrison Ford's in his 80s, and he's back as the new Incredible Hulk. He's going to be the Red Hulk. Did you know that?
I know that.
Yeah, he's taking over the role that William Hurt played. But is it William Hurt?
I did send you Michael Douglas's Instagram, right?
No.
No, he's off his rocker, dude. He looks like 120 all of a sudden.
He's beaten a lot of cancer too, that guy.
Yes.
Lee Priest said, "I'm worth millions." He's an actor. Okay, there you go. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the. Should we talk? Let's talk about the Vancouver show, and then we can go back to stem cells. We'll tell you what I went through, Chris. I'm going to give you a little preview. So we've had to meet with this doctor, and the doctor is this woman who's a anesthesiologist. So she's doing a lot of our, the injections of the stem cells and supervising all that. She had to interview us ahead of time to get our health history and all that stuff. And I made a big faux pas. Usually when women ask, how old do I look? What's the right answer, Chris? Let's see if we're linked psychically. What's the right answer to that question?
When a woman asks how old?
Yeah, like when a grown woman asks how old do I look?
Oh, I lower it by like 30 years all the time.
You say 29, right? You can't go wrong with 29. 29 works great. I decided that I said, you know what? She looks kind of young. I bet she's probably 35, but I have a feeling I'm being fooled. So I'm not going to try to really guess her age. So I said 45. Well, she was 37. So I started off on a bad note with her, but she happened to be a very awesome woman.
She looked young though.
Yeah.
She had braces, and she did. I thought she was probably.
That's because Dave had been looking at 20-year-olds at the pool. So his perspective got.
So I said, all right. So we started, and then once the stem cell procedure started, that was last night we did that. I had a lot of questions because I want to be able to explain to our audience what happens when you get what are stem cells, what they do, and one of the things that you experience and that he experienced and I experienced is when you first get the first bolus injection into your veins of the stem cells, you get like a headache. And the headache is caused by vasoconstriction, she said. Vasoconstriction, which means the vessels are constricting, right? Which, so I said, well, what causes that? And she said, well, it's the stem cells doing it. I said, well, what are the stem cells doing? It's causing vasoconstriction. Yeah. They're undifferentiated cells. What's going on? I said, isn't it because the immune system is being activated, right? Because they're foreign bodies, and then they're releasing mast cells and macrophages that are releasing histamines, and we're getting like a histamine reaction, which is, histamines cause contraction. That's why you take an antihistamine to open up your sinuses. So we were debating this. So I already started off on a bad note with misguessing her age. Now we're arguing about like the science of stem cells. And then
she's probably never been asked the question.
No, she said that she's never. I asked her what the magnification was in the microscope they were using, and she didn't know. So she's like, no one asked me these questions. I said, well, I asked a lot of questions.
When you were talking to me about something else, you were asking about, you were giving advice to the nurse about your veins, and you said, and she agreed with you. You said, don't you think that I don't know what you said about the veins.
Chris, they stuck me like ask him, how many times did they put an IV in my arm?
Yeah.
6 times. I have the best veins of anyone in the history of the world. And 6 times they had to do my veins. Because they don't listen, because they think, oh, she's like, you have fragile veins. I said, no, they just move. That's all. I said, you got to hold them tight. Anyway,
Well, I hate when they put them in the hand anyway.
They put them in the hand and then they're pumping in like 1,000 cc's of fluid. I'm like, can you? She's like, we're going to move it. We're going to move the IV. Anyway, so finally at the end of I did a procedure. There's a new procedure now where they've shown that in order, I had the heart surgery and I wanted to get some heart healing done. But the problem with stem cells is they don't stay in the heart when they inject them into the bloodstream. They tend to go through the heart, but they don't stay there. And they found that if you do 10-point injections, so it's 10 intramuscular injections of stem cells throughout the body, somehow it creates a signaling coordination of these stem cells to go to the heart and start fixing anything that might be not working properly there. There's a couple of research studies to prove this. So I said, fine, I want you to do that to me. I said, because they got some results on some other people they did that with. So I said, can you inject my arms as some of the 10 muscle groups? So I wanted my biceps, my triceps. So I figured maybe we can get some muscle growth out of this whole stem cell thing. I'm being a guinea pig. So they did my quads, my triceps, my biceps, my delts, and what else did they do? I don't remember else. Glutes. They did my glutes. Glutes. So when she started doing my arms, I'm a little bit of an expert, Chris. I kind of have some experience injecting my arm. They've done it a few thousand times over the years, right? I said, I don't think you're going in the right place. I said, I know this. I know the right spots in my arms. I said, you're over too far. And she's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm an anesthesiologist. This is what I do for a living. I said, you don't inject biceps for a living. I said, I do. I said, you do IV lines. So we were arguing, and guess who's right?
Of course.
Look at that hematoma I got. She gave me.
Yeah.
Goodness. Crazy.
All because she wouldn't go an inch over to the right when I told her that.
Only you, Dave. What did she say after that happened?
She's like, I guess you were right.
She massaged it for like 20
I
minutes.
got a 30-minute massage out of it because it looked like a baseball was under there initially. So
Just give it. I'm the professional. I'm an anesthesiologist. I want to do the best. Just relax.
So I got a bicep massage out of it, but now I have a black and blue that'll probably last about a month.
We got marks everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
He got 6,000 shots in
forearms, triceps. Yeah, everywhere.
So here's one more thing. I really like the anesthesia. She's a really sweet lady, but we had a couple of debates. So before we went in, I said, Armon you're going to have a lot of trouble knocking him out when you give him propofol. So she was like laughing. She's like, ha, 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 this is what I do for a living. I said, no, you don't understand. You're going to need to give him like 4 times the amount of propofol because, he used to be an opiate, addict. He got over opiate addiction.
But even before then, I've
He's got a very high
tolerance. I have a high tolerance even before then. So
tell him what happened when you're in
all right. So they wheel me in there and all that. And they said, okay, it's time for happy, sleepy cocktail time. I'm used to getting propofol because I've been doing facet injections with steroids at my pain management, like 10 years on and off. So then they do it, and the first one, burns, propofol burns, and then I'm like, okay.
Stop for a second, Chris. You know how I don't know if you've ever gone for surgery. They give you propofol and they say count back from like 10. You get to 9 and you're asleep normally. He's like counting. He's up to 100 already. They're like.
I'm just like, wiggle my fingers and my toes, and she's like tapping my head. She's like, "Do you feel dizzy?" Or I was like, "No, I'm good."
He didn't even feel dizzy, Chris.
But I didn't know. I thought they were maybe giving me like a Versed first or something, and I'm like, no, I'm good. They're like, okay, well, okay, and then they do another tube and do it again, and then she's like, are you not do you feel anything in your head or like tired? I'm like, no, I'm good.
He's like doing algebra equations.
I'm awake. I'm fine. I'm good. And I'm like, you're not going to stick me with me not asleep. No, but we're going to get you asleep. It might take a little bit. And then they have to do it 2 more times. So Usually they said about half a tube put someone out. So it took 4 tubes.
They're like, I think we ran out of propofol. We have to call Michael Jackson to see if we have any more.
I was going to say, you have to call
some of
Conrad.
his
What's Dr. Conrad?
we need Conrad over here to help put this guy to sleep because evidently we can't do it.
About an hour, they put I think like 20 syringes down my neck, spine, like both my elbows, my biceps, back of my shoulder. Yeah.
So he's
pinned up everywhere.
So we'll know, in a few weeks, probably he'll know at least if he's out of pain because he was in a lot. He has a lot of pain in his spinal column. They say usually 3 to 6 months to see what the results of the stem cells are. So anyway, so we did a bicep workout on Friday. Saturday I got the bicep shots of the stem cells. So if my arms, turn into the Incredible Hulk's arms, you'll know that the stem cells work. But I really what I really did them for was more as an experiment to see what the healing potential of it is. I want to see if my cardiac ejection fraction improves. I want to see if the electrical system of my heart improves because they say supposedly stem cells help with that. And, just general pain, just aches and pains and recovery and stuff like that. I think the future might be, and especially once the price comes down a little bit more, but this clinic that our friend Dan runs was really, really reasonable, regenerative. I think people are going to be coming like once a year and getting, as they get older, and doing regeneration type medicine because the stuff is stem cells are smart. They know where to go, and they will look for the damaged organs. They'll look for the damaged tissues, and they'll go there and repair it. Now, how well it does that, we're going to find out, and that's why we came down here to do this little experiment. So I want to thank Dan for bringing us down. I mean, they put us we're in a beautiful condo here. We're on the 7th floor overlooking all of Puerta Vallarta.
Mountains. And we got here with all the guys. We're going to chill. We have had zero free time. They got a beautiful, we've had no time at all to do anything. We slept probably maybe 6 hours total the whole trip.
Yeah, it was good.
In a week,
Good
5
experience.
days. So.
Chris, there's one gym down here that we haven't gone to. Hopefully we're going to get to it tomorrow morning where they actually have steroids. Like, like you go into a gym and you can buy protein powders and stuff like that. They actually have steroids under the under the glass in the front of the gym. So I'm going to try to check that out too. I haven't reached up. We haven't got to that gym yet, but so that's going to be. All right, let's get to some bodybuilding because there was a few pro shows this weekend. There was one open pro show in Vancouver, and JOHN JEWETT wins that, clinches his ticket. You mentioned earlier this was a really good 212 bodybuilder. Another one who's now successfully moved to the open class, won a pro show on his way to the Olympia. Give me your impression, Chris, of what happened.
John has, I wasn't there and I didn't actually see a lot of pictures, but it's not surprising because John has a lot of density. He has a lot of even development, good balance. He's got really good quads, great condition. His back is, dense. His shoulders, arms are dense. What probably won it for him over Budesheim is the combination of less weaknesses and, spot on condition and real density. He has a body that looks like, that it's built on training and nutrition. I'm not saying anyone in the lineup else didn't live it, like their physiques are not built on training and nutrition, but it just looks like he has a physique that's been built over a long period of time, if that makes sense.
But he also is always in shape. The guy brings tremendous conditioning to the stage. I mean, that goes a long way. I mean, you can't discount conditioning. I mean, he's just peeled. He's always peeled. Now, my question to you is, do you like him better as a 212 guy or do you like him better as an open guy?
No, I like him better, obviously, as an open guy. I thought he was really good as 212. And, I think the last 212 Olympia that he did, he was, I think, 4th or 5th or 6th. It was a really deep, the 212 Olympia is always real deep. But what stuck out is his frame. He had a very, very big frame for that body weight. And maybe, what happened was he had to think how hard am I what am I giving up to be able to make the class? Because although he had the frame to be like a 212 Olympic winner, you know, or top three for sure, I don't think that, you know, I think that filling the frame out a little bit more would just push him over the edge too much, higher than 212.
Right. So why does Jewett beat Budesheim here?
Probably density and condition, you know. I think he's just probably in better true condition. I mean, Budesheim, I think, is probably looking like he's at his best. You know, but
Budesheim's got a little bit of a thick waist, I think.
Yeah, he's a little thicker through the waist, and you know, I just think that you know, his condition is close to John's, but I think John is probably, you know, the condition at the end of the day probably put him over the edge.
You know, I got to tell you, and I want your opinion on this. You can chime in here, Armon, too, but I don't like. There's not many guys that can pull off what I call the Dorian Yates side tricep pose. I don't think these guys are showing their physique to their best. It looks awkward to me. Budesheim really can't pull the tricep on that pose. Even Jewett is ruining this pose for himself. I think they should hit the conventional side tricep pose where they, you know, put the leg facing the audience next to the other leg in the back, and get that huge hang, that huge hamstring hang. I don't know why guys hit it like this. Like I said, there's only a few guys that really can pull off that pose, like in the Dorian position.
I don't think they can, Dave. I think they're too bound up.
No, this is harder, this pose. Look at it. It's so awkward. Their stomach is sticking out.
It's not
they can't. It's easier to hit it the conventional way, don't you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's easier. I think it just looks better if you can do it. You know, by the way, the guy to the right, I don't know his name. I think he's an Iraqi guy, lives in Canada.
Looks like Willie Winkler.
He's a 212 guy.
Oh, he moved up too? Okay.
Yeah.
That's Slavov Bednar?
No, the guy to the right. The guy with the beard.
Yeah, I had John winning in the I thought he would probably win the show. And then we didn't know how Stu was going to look, but I probably had him like at third at best, but he was way off.
There's Jewett. Let's see if we can see let's see what they got up here. I mean, he was gnarly hard. I mean, it's just like, I mean, he's just like, I know some of these pictures are probably filtered, some of them, but he had really good conditioning. And I think he won the show based on just polish, you know?
Yeah.
And that's sometimes all it takes, you know? But what happened to Beef Stew? Let's look at Beef Stew here for a second.
Yeah.
He looked a little like over depleted and flat. What do you think, Chris?
You know, I think he could have been tighter in the quads, you know.
He looks flat though, like really flat.
Well, maybe that's why he could have been tighter in the quads. Maybe it was, you know, they weren't full as opposed to not being tight enough.
Yeah. I think sometimes what happens is though, you know, guys it almost looks like they pull too much water on them too, right?
Well, I mean,
over dehydrated, you know.
It's hard to, you know, sometimes you can be over dehydrated, and that's fine if you're full enough, you know.
So fucking brutal. He's like, it was a crap show. Nobody could pull any poses in that show. If that's a pro show, apart from the winner, everyone needs to have cards back. Lee, stop. That's not nice. All right. It was not a top tier show, but I think that there were some guys that looked really good. But
his body just looked really tired. I don't know how many shows has he?
I think he's taking off. I don't think he's doing Chicago.
Yeah, he should have.
He probably just hit too many shows.
Yeah.
So the person say about his hair.
Someone said he had a
hairdo like a child
molester haircut.
People love to make fun of people on this board. We have the work. Believe me, most of the time they make fun of us.
They make fun of us, so it's all a good game.
What does Beef Still Looking Jewish have to do with anything with the hair? People are so rude in this in our comments. We might have the rudest comment people makers of any live show. But all right, so Jewett goes to the Olympia now. I mean, how does he do with the Olympia? You know, obviously, you know, this is going to be, you know, a tough one for him because he's obviously just kind of really pushed his way into the open class. Now he's going to the Olympia in the open class. Is he a top 10 guy?
No, I think he's an absolutely tremendous bodybuilder, but I think he's still, you know, moving up, and I think he needs another year more muscle on that frame. But just because, I mean, look at some of the people who just won shows. They may not be there, but you have Bonac in it. He just won a show. You have, I mean, look at Nick Walker's in it. Who are the most recent winners? Nathan. You know, they have just more size. I don't think Nick. I think John's condition is as good as those people I just mentioned. Or Keem just, you know, won a show. You know, I think condition-wise, he's as good as those names, but they just pack more size.
I think you're right. Did you hear? You know, I was listening. I think I said it to you. Michael Hearn posted a video saying that Robbie Robinson, the Black Prince, you know, probably one of the most well-known bodybuilders in the world. You know, some people don't like him, some people like him. He was kicked out of Gold's Gym Venice indefinitely. What could he possibly have done, Chris, to get kicked out of Gold's Gym Venice?
Well, I got kicked out of a hospital last night, so who knows?
You did, Chris. He's not kidding.
I don't know. I don't know what.
Until the cops came and they knew you, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice to know what, you know. I mean, what did he get kicked out of? You know, think of it. He's at Biden's age, right?
He gets angry sometimes, Chris. I was there in
no, I know that
2018.
I know Robbie's personality, and you know, I was trying to give him a compliment in terms of, you know, his physique's still incredible. It was more than incredible, and he's got his faculties in spades. But yeah, he has. Go ahead. What you've had experience with?
Does he have anger management issues? Is that the problem? Yeah. What was your experience with him, Armon?
Well, 2018, I was down there at Venice, and 2018, 19, COVID going on. He was at the CVS right down the street from Venice. My friend behind him, they've got workouts together before, and he was like, "Hey, Robbie, how you doing?" He's like, "My name's not Robbie," and he's like, "What's up, Robbie? Robbie Robinson?" He's like, "No, who are you?" And I was like, "Are you sure it's him?" Because I haven't seen Robbie probably in like 10 years. And not trying to mean, and homeless, he looks like a homeless guy, you know, the way he dresses and all the stuff. And finally, he just kind of like, my friend was like, "Can I get a picture?" And just was like kissing his ass. And finally, Robbie was like, "Okay, yeah. And it was a really weird encounter. Like he was mad for just no reason. I don't know if he didn't have any money or I'm not sure, but it was strange.
I get along with Robbie very well. And I've had him on the show a couple of times, but there have been people that have contacted me that say that Robbie somehow screwed them out of money or something like that. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't believe it because I that's not my relationship with Robbie, but I don't know why they would kick him out of Gold's Gym Venice. I mean, the only other person I know to get kicked out of Gold's Gym Venice was Craig Titus because he punched Arnie List in the fucking mouth. But and that was only for what, a month? Chris?
Didn't Greg Reed get kicked out when didn't he come down and smack Sean Ray?
Oh, Greg Reed did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, ask Cormier.
What was that for?
Cormier was
That's great. I didn't know.
I just wanted to put a dig on Sugar.
That's Sean Ray. Yeah.
He's such an easy target, but you know.
Oh, yeah. So did you see the? Not that they're big news or anything like that, but I guess they're big celebrities on Instagram. You see the Trend Twins competed, Chris?
Who are the Trend Twins?
They're the TikTok, you know, YouTube. They're twins, and
let me guess.
Like the Barbarian brothers of the modern
Trend.
Yeah,
that's their claim to fame. That they're twins, and they take a lot of.
Well, no, they claim that they made the name, but they never took trend just so recent. They're like 5'4", 5'4".
They're very short guys.
Yeah, but they did a true novice, but I thought they looked about. You see all their pictures in the gym, and then on stage, they looked about 13 weeks out.
No, I don't think they looked that bad.
Yeah,
they looked all right. I thought they looked pretty good. I thought that their whole shtick, Chris, is they're like do crazy zany things online in the Instagram. They're like the Barbarian Brothers, they're like the micro Barbarian Brothers, basically.
Did they compete?
Yeah, they didn't die.
Was it an NPC show?
An NPC show, yeah.
How'd they do?
They won their
they won some novice classes or something like that, yeah. They're good. They're okay. I think they're fine. This is their first show. Come on. Think about
they didn't look like that on stage.
Yeah. Well, this is Instagram. Yeah. The filters, as Chris would say, this is filtered pictures, I'm sure. But let's see what else they put up here. I don't think they have.
They didn't put their stage pictures.
They didn't put the stage pictures up. Okay.
So,
they're they got 1.7 million followers, Chris, on Instagram. So they do a lot of crazy zany shit, and they're funny, So I like their shtick, you know what I mean? And in fact, they don't have to even ever get on stage, but you know what? They did it obviously to show everyone that they could do it, and they got a niche for themselves, and they're not portending to be Olympia worthy competitors at this point, but they do kooky stuff, and people like it. They like their personality. So they're twins, right?
Yeah,
they're legit. One guy's bigger than the other one,
Yeah, they're twins.
They're like Arnold and Danny DeVito twins. But I got to get them on the show. I'm gonna get them on the show because I think that they've earned it. I probably will get along well with them because I think they get the whole performance aspect of bodybuilding. In other words, you have to have fun with it. You have to make people want to watch your stuff. And a lot of guys are very boring on Instagram.
Well, I got that V-Trim person on.
He was good.
And he was all crazy, but then he toned it down a lot once he got on with us.
Right.
He wasn't his normal, wild self.
Oh, Victor Richie's got kicked out of the gym too. That's right. I forgot that, Lee. Sorry. Yeah.
Does Robbie have to pay a membership there, or does he work out free? I'm assuming free, right?
I don't think Robbie's ever paid free. Robbie should have a free membership for the rest of his life. I mean, come on, the guy's a legend. But he must have said something nasty to someone. He probably insulted someone, and someone probably complained.
Yeah, probably cussed out somebody at the staff or something.
That's the only thing I can think about. So what's the latest with the? I know you're leaving on Tuesday with your son for Team Nationals?
Tuesday.
So what's the update? Is he ready?
Yeah, he looks good. Looks good.
What does he weigh?
182 today.
Oh, that's what you predicted, right?
I predicted that when he was 236.
Yeah, I know you did. We talked about that last week.
I just the amateur winner, Dave. You want to laugh for the of the amateur, the Vancouver Pro. This kid I coach. He.
Oh, I saw that. He's really good.
Yeah, he won, and then he did the pro show the next day, and I predicted that he'd be 99 the day of the show, 99 kilos, and he was 98.2.
And the funny thing is, you don't even know what a kilo is, and you still predicted it right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just took the I divide by 2. I still know to divide by 2.2.
You're funny. What's his name again?
Marcelo Alfonso.
I'm trying to find his picture.
No, Marcelo Alfonsi. Yeah, he competed in 4 shows in 3 weeks. He did a show last weekend, the weekend before, then he did Saturday amateur and then Sunday pro. And then next week he's going to Chicago for the 212.
That's crazy.
So we 5 shows.
Where's he from?
Brazil.
Oh, you got the whole Brazilian contingency tied up over there.
No, Neil's got his fingers in some of that,
That's because Neil's practically living over there, probably. That's why. You guys are both right? We're very well liked over there. You and Neil. Let's see. Yeah, he was lean.
No, this is not him, Dave. Dave puts
No,
up.
it's not.
No.
So what? He's got the same name.
That's people he coaches. He coaches.
What?
That's someone he coaches.
Oh. What's his personal page?
Well, just you'll see. You're probably on it. You just got to scroll down to see pictures.
I was trying to look from the show.
Got too many clients on here.
He's got all his clients on here. I didn't realize that. Sorry.
That's him from 2 weeks ago in the front double. There he is winning the show.
Oh. There he is. Sorry, I got the wrong person with him.
He actually beat whoever he beat was really good.
There's a nice compliment to you, Armon. You got $4.99. I'll give you a 25-cent commission check when we leave. Chris, they're claiming that you need a shave.
I don't have time to shave.
They want you to drink some whiskey too. They said. Well, they think you're drinking whiskey.
No, this is me and
I'm gonna go buy Armand a lady boy with the
cherry Diet Coke. Cherry Diet Coke, Dave. Me, Warren Buffett, Bob Grushkin, our favorites. You'd have the refrigerator filled with that and undeveloped film.
Does anyone have that undeveloped film from Bob Grushkin?
Yeah, I got some. That Rich Politano, who was a good friend of Bob's, and Bob used to coach. When Bob passed away, he went down to the cellar and went through a bunch of, went through the fridge and went through, just he sent them out to everybody. Like
has he developed the film though?
Scalise, Jerry Scalise, here's your photos. Jeff King, here's your photos.
Oh, he did develop them. That's great.
Oh, so no, some I got film that's still sitting in my drawer that I got from him. That's not.
Well, why don't you go develop it so you can see what he's got?
Because I don't have any motivation to see what I looked like at 17 years old.
Oh, that would be the only motivation I have. So you could live your heyday again. But before I go on to talk about some other stuff, talk to me about Tim Budesheim. What does he need to do to win a show?
Keep competing and show up in a show where somebody's not a little bit better than him. That's all.
How old is he?
I think he's under 30.
Okay. I think so. He's young too.
Well, the shoulders maybe a little more round, arms up, and he can bring that weight. He can bring the waist in.
He's wide, so I mean, he can kind of cheat his way, around that.
Yeah.
His legs are perfect. I mean,
glutes are crazy, hands are thick.
He probably could use a bigger back.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a thicker waist, a big back always seems to help.
Those shoulders, he can get more rounded out.
Yeah. He should come down here and take some stem cell injections. Maybe really grow those shoulders.
Absolutely.
Budesheim is 34. Thank you, Sid.
Stem cells, Dave, they pass through the heart and in some people the shoulders. So.
What's that?
Enough, Max. Anyway.
Oh, man.
It's been a busy weekend. I saw that Kareth Baggio qualified for the Olympia.
Yeah,
he won. He won it in that Atlanta Pro show. I think that was Linda Murray's show, right?
Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah, he looked very good.
It was pretty close between him and Bo Lewis. Did you see that?
Yeah, I know people there, and they said it could have gone either way, but the two people who were there, who I spoke with, they said they thought it was close, and at the end they gave the nod to Kareth anyway. So, in terms of the two people I spoke to,
there's Bo Lewis.
Right,
yeah, he looks great.
They picked the winner, so did the judges, but they said it was close, and both had their, really good strengths, and both had, Kareth winning by, a little bit.
Kareth is not a young guy either, and it's amazing that he looks good. He's another one of these ageless guys. When I helped him turn pro, he was already I think he was 40 already. So it's not like he's a spring chicken, and he's improving still, but he started working out late. Armon and I were just talking about this earlier. He's like, how do these guys compete into their 50s and 60s, some of these guys? I said, because they start at 35 years old. So they're not starting it as teenagers like most of us do.
Yeah. And we get our bodies up when we start young, so we don't really know what we're doing. Come on.
Talk about it. So you get down there Tuesday, and when is your son on stage?
Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, he's doing collegiates too?
No, teen classic and teen.
Oh, okay. They have two different. You would think they'd put the teens all on the same day. I wonder why they do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
No comment. So you're going to be there. So you're actually. Are you staying in the Sheridan Station Square hotel?
No, because it was sold out. So we're like a quarter of a mile away. In I don't even know where.
This is probably the first time you've ever gone to that show in recent memory, right?
I've never been to the city of Pittsburgh.
You haven't?
No, I wanted to take the Pittsburgh architectural tour, but we don't have time.
Architectural tour.
Pittsburgh's pretty boring.
And then Friday, I'm going to fly to Chicago actually because I figured, you know what, I'll go to the Chicago Pro. It's an hour flight. And if I came back, my week's screwed work-wise, you know, just too much. So I said, you know what, I'll just go to Chicago from there.
How many, who's in the show for Chicago for you?
Marcelo is doing the 212. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Dave, I wanted to actually compliment and give a shout out. And I don't give shout outs to bodybuilders I coach. But Hamza Saeed, who was third in the Vancouver Classic. You can go to my Instagram and see the picture of him, unfiltered, of his condition. Unfiltered. And his condition is just blazing, blazing, blazing. And I think, you know, when people say, how many times have people said to you, can I be a pro? And I always tell people, I just don't know.
This guy?
Yes. This guy started from double nothing.
He looks like Heidi Chopin in the ad.
Dave, I tell him all the time. I said, you remind me so much of Heidi Chopin. And you know when you see those pictures of Heidi Chopin, he was kind of like 165 and stuff like that. Right. You know, I have pictures of him when he was, you know, he's 190 here. It's his first pro show. And he thought he won the juniors, his class, and he got his pro card, which was, you know, he told me, I didn't tell him. He said, I'm going to get my pro card, when he was like a joke.
That's pretty cool. He was that confident in himself, you know?
Oh, yeah. He told me, he pulled me aside and told me I will become a professional bodybuilder.
Oh, there's the Sid's pulling more pictures. That's good.
And when I, you know, if you were standing there, you would just laugh at him and say, God, people are delusional. And that was.
Is that the same guy?
No, huh?
Is that the same guy up there that he's putting up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was maybe 2018, and he's plugged away. So after he won the juniors, he said, I'm going to shut it down and, you know, improve my physique and come back and do a pro show next year. I said, no, you won't. No, you're not. You got to find a pro. You got to pick a pro show. Just do one. You got to see where you land, and your condition will put you in the first call of any show. Right. And it did.
You were right. You were right. So he's doing Chicago, is what you're saying.
So he's doing classic Chicago. He did Vancouver, and he said, what do you think now? I said, you know what? You just Marcelo wanted to get his pro card. He wanted to take a year off. And I told him the same thing. I said, you know what? You can win a pro show. If you were spot on, you can win one. You know, you can qualify this year. You know, because people, sometimes when you put a goal too far down the road, you know, it's like saying, I want to be a millionaire when I'm 50. Well, when are you going to start? You know what I mean? Like, so when someone why not just make it like, you know, if you're 22, make it 28, which is, you know, it's probably not going to happen, you know, when you make that goal so short, but at least it gives us some urgency to it. And sometimes when bodybuilders say they have good intentions, I'm going to take a year off, you can lose your focus in 4 of those months, you know?
This guy wants to know why there's tape on your light switch, Chris. I told him to ask Lee.
Lee?
Ask Lee. No, it wasn't Lee. It's some other guy's asking.
Someday I'll take it off.
Don't ask. It's the switch that, you know, calls the White House. You know, you don't ever want to touch that switch.
I'm afraid there's poison in there. Like
it's poison in them hills. Can you imagine though that if they could get stem cells down to a reasonable cost? You know, because right now they're very expensive. I don't even know why we can't do them in the United States. I still haven't figured out the whole reason. I know that some kind of moral view. I think the reason, and this is a little rant I wanted to go on before we end the show. I think the real reason why they don't want stem cells in the United States has nothing to do with abortion and amniotic cord cells. I know
exactly what you're going to say, Dave.
It's the drug companies won't allow it because they don't want natural healing.
Because it's going to take away cortisone shots.
Right.
How much a year they make from cortisone shots?
Dave.
Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories.
If you and Armon this weekend found a not a fountain of youth, but some type of went out in the woods and found some reservoir, some water reservoir that cured cancer, the same people who tried to shoot Trump would shoot you both on the way back to the U.S.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Listen, everything is about money. If everything, elections, all of it is about power and money. And controlling power and controlling money. And why stem cells poo-poo to some some like outlier type therapy? Because you know what, it probably cures a lot of things, or can cure a lot of things, and until drug companies have their control over it, you'll never get it. And you know what, Dave, when you do get it, it's just like I asked, how much was an MRI down there? I was in the hospital last night. It's like $3,000.
It's insane.
Mine was 200.
I could have flown first class.
$30.
I could have flown first class with my son to Mexico to meet you guys.
Yeah.
On a last minute flight and saved,
save money on the MRI, right? Exactly.
5-star treatment here.
And truth be told, who ends up reading the blood work anyway, Dave? You in Mexico.
You know what the sad part is? If you knew what these Mexican doctors make here, it's pathetic. That anesthesiologist that I was breaking her balls the whole day. She worked 18 hours that day because she has to, because she gets paid way more.
That's why she doesn't look as young as she really is.
That's right. So it wasn't my fault. Yeah. But no, seriously, she makes so little as an anesthesiologist that she has to moonlight doing the stem cells because they're paying her 3 to 4 times more than she makes during the day. It's crazy. And, she's a super nice woman and she works hard. Her husband's they're both anesthesiologists, her and her husband. And they probably don't even make enough to really live high where they should. She's working, all day long, 7 days a week. It's really insane, but I will say I'm very impressed with the medical treatment we received because they did blood work, they did diagnostic tests.
You know what,
if anything, they overdid the fact that they wanted to make sure that we were perfectly healthy to do these procedures. And it's partially the clinic, but it's also what Mexico requires in the medical system here. So the medical system is really good here.
You know what the insurance companies would say about Mexican medicine? They say, "Oh, I wouldn't go down there for treatment. I wouldn't go down there for treatment."
Well, you know what it is? You know what they report? They report on the people doing stuff in the back room of their house. They don't report on what's going on in Mexican hospitals because the hospitals are very, very. You went to the one.
He signed so much paperwork, and
dude,
everybody
you can go to the Four Seasons in Mexico, or you can go to the Four Seasons in Surfside, Florida, and they're the same. And you can go for medical treatment in Mexico and medical treatment in Miami. They're the same. The difference is the insane price tag.
Yeah, I will say this: I went into a pharmacy, and I wanted to see what the price. I wanted to see the Ready Jack Sustenance and remember those little Decas they sell, Organon Decas, the 50 milligram ones.
Dave runs in there. Let me see the price. How much?
I wanted to see what they're going for nowadays, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, how much are they going for?
First of all, Sustanon is not made by Organon anymore. It's another company that bought the rights, but it's the same thing. And the Sustanons are, what were they, like $90? No, it was $90 for one Ready Jack Sustanon. And the Deca, which is 50 milligrams, that's at least 250. The Deca is $85 for 50 milligrams of Deca.
US dollars?
50 US dollars, I'm talking.
Why so expensive?
Because it's astronomically priced. Because they want you to buy the underground stuff. They have, you know, like the underground labs, they sell that in the pharmacy too. They have their own like underground labs there, which I wouldn't trust with a 10-foot pole, but those are more reasonably priced. You know, that's like $80 for a 10cc bottle, you know.
That's why when last time I was in Mexico, I bought the underground Lamborghini. It was like 90% off the real cost of the real Lamborghini.
You know, the cars are double the price here also. Like if you want to get a Mercedes here, whatever it would cost in the US, you're going to double that here. Now, I know Lee Priest in Australia, probably 3 times that, but we don't know how good we have it in the United States. We really don't, you know, in certain you know, aspects. But they don't care about anabolic steroids here. Like I said, they sell them in the gyms. They sell them in the pharmacies. Every pharmacy has a picture of, like I said, Phil Heath or Chris Bumstead. They want you to come in there. They don't. We were trying to find a pregnancy test. I couldn't find a pregnancy test. I said, "Are you guys sure you're a pharmacy?" I said, "You got every drug in the world here, but you don't have a pregnancy test." They said, "You got to go to the Puerta Vallarta pharmacy."
No one's big here. No one's big at the gyms. There's no muscular people whatsoever.
It's all tourists must be buying all this stuff. But every pharmacy, there's like 1 million pharmacies all over the touristy areas, the beach towns. And you can go in there and buy whatever you want, and it's 100% legal. The problem is that if you're going to buy name brand stuff, you're going to overpay for it. And if you buy the underground stuff, you just don't know what you're getting, and that's the problem. You know, so that's why we tested the HCG to see, you know, just for shits and giggles, and it came up 100.
Got to taste HGH.
Yeah. But he was going to take. He took. What did you take? How much?
Well, I usually take about 4 IUs HGH now. So these are supposedly 12 IUs per bottle. I took 2 bottles. That's 24 IUs.
Took 2 whole bottles.
Dave's like, you're gonna wake up so, and I didn't feel anything. So
I think they're real because he didn't feel it. He would have got at least low blood sugar from it. He didn't do that. So I'm not so sure on the GH, but we tested the HCG. It was good, and I know that the anabolics look real because he brought all the powders. And I will give you guys one little tidbit before we hang up today, and you'll have to watch the video for the rest of the information, but you can tell we learned this. He thought Armon thought that I knew this, but I didn't know. The guy told me. If you have raw powder, primobolan and anthate powder, and you hold it up and you shine a light on it, it reflects the light like the crystals almost. And if it doesn't do that, then it's not primobolan powder. So you can actually tell if you have real primobolan powder by the way it refracts light. So the guy brought over 1 kilo of Primo powder to show me what it looks like, because I always tell people no one makes real Primo here. He wanted to prove to me that he did. And
20 grams,
$20,000 for 1 kilo of it's like almost like cocaine, right? It's crazy. But 20 grand for 1 kilo of Primobolan powder. So that's why the drug is so expensive. So if you're getting Primobolan and it's cheap, it's probably fake. You know.
So Dave, in summary, when are you going to know when you get your tests done here and pay an arm and a leg that the stem cells had any positive effect?
I think I'm going to wait 6 months and I'm going to get a echocardiogram. I'm going to see if my cardiac output has improved. You know, I have a pacemaker, so they interrogate that thing.
Remember, you may have to lie on the show because if it improved drastically, you may end up in a casket.
Yeah. I might get shot on the roof of my house. Yeah. No, but I think I'll know something in 3 to 6 months. They said it, how I feel. And I think what I'm going to do is if I do get good results, and I think, you know, I don't see there being any negative to what we did. So I think we're going to get results. It's going to be how much positive results. And a lot of people have already reached out to me and asked how they can get in touch with Regenemex. I'm going to put up some kind of a code, and they're going to give a discount to the RX Muscle viewers if you guys want to come down here. The thing I will say about this is that it's beautiful when you come down here. So it's not like you're going to a shitty place. You'll go down here. They do testing one day. They do the stem cells the next day. Sometimes they do it over 2 days.
How much is a haircut? How much is a haircut down there? Because a lot of people say I need to get a haircut. And
I went to this under the condo complex where they have a nail salon. So I said, you know what? He was doing something. I'm like, I'm just going to go get my a pedicure done. You know, rub your feet. They cut your cuticles. 2 hours. You know, I don't have a lot of patience. I've never seen anyone do such a meticulous job of trimming toenails before, but they did a great job. So, and it was cheap too. So if you come down here and you stay in the condo complex here, right next to the Regenemex building where they do all the stem cell treatments.
Cheap to eat by the pool, or to, you know, you're in a condo.
Well, the pool in the condo complex was really nice because there's an infinity pool on the roof. I'll put up a video of that so I took. And you know, Ronnie Coleman comes down here every 6 months.
The pool builders in the U.S. don't trust those infinity pools. They say they're going to fall off the edge of the building, just like the medical community doesn't trust Mexican physicians.
Well, you know, I asked Dan, the guy who took us out and who owns the clinic, you know, what was Ronnie eating when he was down here? And he's like, Ronnie still eats like he did when he was like competing, Chris.
Of course.
Like he goes to a restaurant, he still orders 2 entrees when he goes, you know.
Crazy.
Can you believe it?
No, I can totally.
Yeah, I'm going to get the chicken and the beef. He's got to get both.
You've been eating big your whole life, right? I mean, some people do lose their appetites, but it's a habit. I think it's a habit. That's all.
Oh my God, yeah. I got to try to coordinate. I have to coordinate next time Ronnie comes in. We got to come down at the same time as him, I think. So I could spend the weekend with him. It'll probably be very entertaining, I'm sure, if I came down. You know who also is down here? Doesn't Tony Huge have family down here?
His parents, right?
His parents, Tony Huge from Enhanced Muscle. His parents live down here, so he comes down here occasionally too. So anyway, that was the weekend. Once again, I want to thank Regenemex for bringing us out and showing us a great time. And of course, congratulations to John Jewett and Kenneth Baggio and all the winners this past weekend, qualifying for the Olympia, getting your pro cards. Donald Trump, good job ducking on that one. And I think he's going to be our next president.
You got to have, what's his face on the show again? The crazy guy.
Who, Roger Stone?
Yeah, Roger Stone.
Yeah. Who's your prediction that's going to run? You think Biden makes it, or will the Democrats replace him?
No, Biden can't make it because the country's a joke, and like the.
Who do they replace him with?
Well, he can't make it because the donors, the people who give the money, have already told him we're not giving. They did this.
Oh, they pulled the money.
They pulled the money from him,
Mm-hmm.
but they also said we're not going to give it to any of the Democrats running.
Oh, really?
For like nice. House and Senate. So, you know, if you're confused on like democracies and like just like who pulls the strings,
right?
So the money people, right? They'd be like, right? Simple as that.
Do you think they'll run like Gavin Newsom or something like that?
Well, they're probably stupid enough to go with Kamala Harris, but they may go into panic mode and pull in Gavin Newsom, which is Trump would destroy. He's a good debater, but Trump will still destroy him because he'll say, "Look at the homelessness in California. Look at the taxes. Right. Look at the people leaving. What is your point?" Right. But they're stupid enough to they're dumb enough to either. It's a trifecta. They're dumb enough to stay with Biden. They're dumb enough to run Kamala Harris.
I don't think anyone wants Biden in there. I don't even think I don't think even the Obamas want Biden there anymore. I think they want.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. And
the great thing about it is if they get rid of Biden, he probably won't even know that he's not still running. He'll probably think he's still running. There's more of a chance in Kai Green they can't come back to the Olympia than Biden win the presidency. I agree.
He's dug in. I mean, when you say Jesus Christ would have to come down and tell me not to run, you're fully You're fully dug in. You're fully delusional enough to be dug in.
Yeah. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck and your son, Fareed, at the Teen Nationals. Will he be the next Teen National overall champion? That would put him in the history books.
Well, we'll see.
He would cement his legacy over his father, Chris, if he did that.
Well, he still has. He's 18, so he still has next year too.
Oh, he still has another year. Oh, he can go. He can't break the Cody record, but he can get close to it. Yeah.
No, but I think his genetics are better than Cody's.
Really? All right, good.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
No, Cody was a little. Speaking of,
he was a freak.
Cody
but your son's natural, though.
Yeah,
huh?
That's true.
Your son's natural, though.
Yeah, but people won't believe that.
but we know he is.
The Trend Twins won't believe it.
No, they won't.
Yeah, if he starts doing collabs with the Trend Twins, we know that he went off the reservation. Yeah, so keep him away from the Trend Twins. Keep us updated, Chris. You'll have to send me pictures from the stage so we can get those pictures up on Arts Muscle.
Oh, Dave, I'll send you. Did I send you today's pictures from the gym?
No, you did not.
No, after the show, I'll send you the pictures. He looks good.
All right, well, everyone, thank you for joining us. Thanks also for all the great hospitality we got here in Puerta Vallarta, Mexico. Armand and I will be flying out tomorrow, business class to Dallas. Then I'm off to Fort Myers and back home for a couple weeks of R&R. For now, we're out of time, as we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio with Heavy Muscle Radio.
The stem cells hurt.
Sure do. We'll see you next week.